let's talk about NXT. A solid episode of the show. Not great, but not the worst either. Let's get into it. So, for starters, there was a nice little cold open about double champions in the past and how no double champion has ever successfully defended both of their titles on the same night. So there was, Kurt Angle, who lost both his belts in the same night. And then there was Becky Lynch, and then there was Seth Rollins, or they at least lost one belt. I don't remember the opening that already. And I'm damn sure not about to go through my brain to remember whether Becky Lynch managed to keep both belts. I do know that Seth Rollins lost his U.S. title. I think he lost it to John Cena. The same night he wrestled Sting. I remember that because that was Sting's last WWE match. Very unfortunate. Anyway, Stephanie Vaquer, she has her match with Jada Parker up first, and she wins the match with a victory roll. She got a little bit of help from Jordynne Grace, who distracted Jada Parker. The match was fairly solid. During the knee bash spot, where she bashes her opponent's head into the mat, which people have decided is the Booker T Goon spot, and people need to chill with that. He's accentuating what she's doing in the ring. It's not necessarily sexual, by the way. Anyway, there was a shucky ducky quack quack chant in the crowd, which I thought was very nice. So she defeated Jada Parker. At that point, Jada Parker and Jordynne Grace had issues outside the ring. While that was going on, Stephanie Vaquer was jumped from behind by Fallon Henley and the rest of Fatal Influence, because Fallon Henley is going to have her match next. So there is a little lull in the action for a little bit as Ava is trying to make sure Stephanie Vaquer wants to have her match. But she assures her that she'll be fine. And then in the main event, Stephanie Vaquer defeats Fallon Henley with the STV. And the match was fairly solid. It was one of the better matches that Fallon Henley has had. I was surprised that Stephanie Vaquer beat both of them. I was almost certain she was going to lose one of these belts. And maybe she should have, but, her being the first person to defend two titles in one night was pretty fun. Giving her a nice little feather in her cap that nobody will remember in 2 weeks. So, next you have Jordynne Grace. She got in the ring to face off with Stephanie Vaquer as the two of them fought off Fatal Influence. Then Jada Parker jumped Jordynne Grace and they got to fighting. And then Ava is surrounded by a bunch of girls who want to fight Stephanie Vaquer next. So Ava is trying to figure out what she's going to do about this women's championship situation. And now I'm thinking it's going to get to the point where she's probably going to ask her to cough one of those belts up, much like they did with Keith Lee when he was a double champion. They made him give up the North American title. I would imagine they're going to make her give up the North American title too. So maybe that's what they'll do for Stand and Deliver, is likely a ladder match featuring 6 to 8 women for the championship, which I'm on the fence about, because there's too many multiple man matches going on already. At the same time, if you need to do a multiple man match, this would be a good reason for it, because of the amount of talent in the women's division who need to be spotlighted. At the same time, I am in favor of keeping a clean roster so we can get down to, a manageable number of people, like a one-on-one match. That would be nice. But they've already set up a multiple man match with Lola Vice popping up and Kalani Jordan and several others. So you can almost guess they're probably going to have some kind of ladder match, and they're going to ask for Stephanie Vaquer to turn over one of her belts. But Stephanie's very good, and she's an excellent in-ring performer. Her English is coming along, so that's going to be fine. Everybody else who lost to Stephanie Vaquer is not going to be hurt. Jada Parker is a star regardless. Fallon Henley is, she's probably going to end up on a TNA train, simply because I don't think there's any place for her on the main roster, nor do I see her doing anything else, like maybe moving to the tag team division. It seems like she's probably going to get shipped over to TNA, likely right after Paxley is done wrestling for the Knockouts title. They're probably going to end up bringing Fallon Henley in to do the same thing. Because I don't see anything else for her to do in NXT. She's not going to go up because she can't go up. It's the same person. So she might end up in that ladder match, and she's not going to win it. So it's not like, I mean, that's the problem with there being two belts on one person. Fallon Henley can't lose that title and then go up and chase for another one because the same person has that belt too. So, I mean, it's an interesting situation to be in. Okie dokie. Trick Williams and Javon Evans, they have their weekly bickering session. Except this time, Trick Williams is a little bit softer with Lil Bro. This time he said, oh, so we both from South Carolina, we supposed to be friends? Last week it was, we both got dreads, supposed to be friends? So, Trick says that Javon Evans got potential, but he don't understand. This is champ business. Javon Evans is like, man, that championship has changed you. And if you chasing Obafemi so hard, why didn't you do what I do? I laid him out. You only laid him out because he was focused on me. Okay. So, because Javon Evans doesn't understand champ business, he says, I'm going to understand it when I win that belt tonight. And that belt, I raised my eyebrows. I'm like, he's not wrestling Obafemi tonight. And it wasn't. He was wrestling Lexis King tonight. So, Javon Evans loses to Lexis King because Obafemi powerbombed him on the ring apron. Javon Evans is spectacular in the ring. I'm talking about the kid can really catch flight. He's really good at jumping off things, over things, and through things. He's tremendous. Pillman, a.k.a. Lexis King, he is improving slowly but surely. I think his progress is not as fast as it was. I mean, when you look at when he first came in compared to, a couple of months later, he had improved quite a bit. And now he's kind of plateaued where I'm not seeing a lot of improvement from Pillman. But he's certainly better than he was in AEW. And which is, oddly enough, not as good as he was in MLW. Believe it or not, I think he actually was better in MLW than he was in AEW. I think a lot of that has to do with opportunities and him not getting the opportunity that much in AEW. So, Javon Evans is tremendous. At this point, Lexis King wins the match by countout. He runs off. Obafemi is then attacked by Trick Williams. They're in the ring fighting. Dark State shows up, but they don't attack the ring. They just watch and applaud as the brawl goes on. Obafemi and Trick Williams are separated. At this point, Javon Evans gets hit with a trick shot knee strike, which was, Trick Williams said it was an accident. I'm going to take his word for it, even though his word ain't worth much these days. But he said he wants to fight Oba next week. We're talking about Trick Williams here. That's not likely to happen because that's a pretty big match. But again, they're building a triple threat match. Again, and again, the same thing is happening when they're doing triple threat matches. Now Trick Williams is stuck in the middle. And the only pure babyface is Javon Evans, who didn't do anything wrong and keeps getting shit talked by Trick Williams. This kid ain't doing nothing wrong. Now, Obafemi is just cool, so people like him. So, so you're turning who should be your franchise player heel, or at least into a morally gray character when it's not necessary. I hate triple threat matches because this keeps happening. This makes no sense. Stop doing this. They need to work out this Javon Evans Trick Williams beef and have the winner face Obafemi, even if it is Javon Evans, which at this point Javon Evans is a top level star in NXT. Now there's a lot of suggestions about the Dark State, about them not attacking Trick Williams and Trick Williams not really caring about the Dark State at all. And some people believe that he is in control of the Dark State. For starters, that would make no sense. I don't think Trick Williams as a character can really pull off being the leader of the Retro Nexus, the Nexubution. I don't think he can pull it off. These guys, something's got. There needs to be some forward movement with this storyline. By the way, this Dark State thing. All it keeps being is, there ain't nobody safe, bruh. Ain't nobody safe, bruh. Throwing up signs. Like, come on, man. This has been 2 months. It's been 2 months. Is Triple H booking this storyline? This can't possibly be Shawn Michaels. Shawn knows that stuff needs to move at some point. This storyline is constipated. The idea that Trick Williams would be the boss man for Dark State makes no sense to me. Not something I'm willing to spend any time really talking about. But I do think that there is a leader. Maybe they're trying to get people to think that the leader is Trick Williams. Or maybe they respect Trick Williams for some reason. But it doesn't seem like Trick Williams is the kind of person that these guys would, interact with. I mean, look at how dismissive he is of Javon Evans. Like he's singularly focused on the championship. And these guys are talking about how they don't get opportunities in NXT, even though they don't work matches or anything either. Javon Evans was concerned about these guys. He had a problem with them. He wanted to work together with Trick to fight them. But Trick doesn't care about these guys, and they have yet to attack him. So it seems to me like that's the idea here. They want people to think that Trick is leading this group. And if it turns out that Trick is leading this group, then I would like for Shawn Michaels to be drug tested again. Because that would be absolute basura. And it would not be a good idea. I don't want Trick Williams bogged down with a faction. Especially a faction that looks like this, that behaves like this. It just doesn't seem to work for me. So the Meta Girls and Chemical X, they got into an argument backstage about which team would be the better fit to be the TNA Tag Team Champions. I was like, why are we talking about this on this show? Let's pull this aside for a second. So there was a segment on Impact where they were celebrating, Ash and Heather by Elegance. So Dana Brooke and Heather Reckless. They're the tag team champions in TNA. They were having a segment where they were going to celebrate their win, and Dana Brooke, aka Ash by Elegance, was going to make a wish. And so she was going to blow out the cake to make a wish, but the party was crashed by the Meta Girls and Chemical X and all this kind of stuff, right? So Gigi Dolan gets on the microphone and she says, what were you going to wish for anyway? To kiss my ass? And the and the room pops. And I was sitting there with my head in my hand like, that doesn't make sense, baby. That's you way off base. But oh my God. Oh, these girls, boy. She been in the PC way too long to not be able to cut a promo, dog. That was pretty cringe, man. But it was funny. It was super funny. Anyway, this set up these two teams having a match, which Chemical X won, which I'm surprised. But then again, the fans do really love them from Tatum Paxley. It seemed like not that long ago that Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson were on the verge of actually getting called up or maybe even getting a push. But now it seems like they're stuck in a rut. Interestingly enough, the other guy in the metaphor, what's his name? Oro Mensah, he got shipped to Evolve. And the elder statesman of the group, he's gone again. He's injured again, I'm guessing. No Amdar. So, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson out here holding down the fort. I mean, they've been very impressive. I don't understand why they're in the position that they're in. They can do much better than this. But I guess the point is that Chemical X is getting the push in TNA. So, let them win this match. Which is fine, I guess. Where is Shotzi? Shotzi is a member of this team as well. It's Shotzi, Gigi, and Tatum Paxley. As a trio, that's Chemical X. Where is Shotzi? Where did she go? Is she hurt again? Did she get injured again? Because if she got injured again, We need to just have like an ambulance follow the NXT talent around. There's so many of these people who are constantly hurt. I mean, Noam Dar has been hurt every year he's been in WWE. And I'm surprised Nikita Lyons ain't in the hospital. Somebody need to put her in the hospital if she tries to rap again. You see that video, by the by? The Nikita Lyons rap video? I think of all the simping that I do for Nikita Lyons, there's just no way that you can survive that. There's no way you can look at that and just think she's cool. I'm just looking at that like, man, aura minus 5,000. Bad rapping. Minus 5,000. Big hipped white woman. That's when you start, she's not white chocolate at that point. All right. She's Becky from North Carolina or some shit. I don't know where she's really from. I think she's from Florida. Just keep that. No white girl rapping. Just don't do it. If you think about doing it, get it out of your mind. All right. Let somebody talk you out of it. It's not a good thing. So let's move on. Ricky Saints has a sit-down interview. He's talking about how his confidence usually scares people, and his confidence is what brought him here because he was yet another wrestler who was sleeping in his car. I don't understand this. Next time I see somebody sleeping in the car, I'm going to knock on the window and ask them what wrestling company they work for. Like, are you an indie wrestler? Because it seems like only indie wrestlers sleep in their goddamn cars. How is this the case? Is there an epidemic of indie wrestlers sleeping in the car? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? It's the same sob story for everybody. I know every damn body. Are all y'all sleeping in the same car? Is it different cars? Was one car more comfortable than the other? Like, why are you sleeping in your car, man? This is the worst. I'm so tired of hearing about wrestlers sleeping in their cars, man. Stop doing that. This is worse than hearing about the hot dog circuit. I used to hear that all the time about wrestlers getting paid in hot dogs and handshakes. Now I'm hearing that guys are sleeping in their cars all the goddamn time. And they're mad at it. And you got these indie wrestling fans. They're super upset that somebody will sign a WWE ID contract when you got an epidemic of guys sleeping in their cars. Absolutely sign a WWE ID contract. Please do. Find a suitable living space. Stop sleeping in your car. Stop doing it. It's dumb. Anyway, speaking of dumb, Shawn Spears, he comes out, says that Ricky Starks, his arrogance is a plague, follows him everywhere he goes and makes enemies. Ricky Starks said that's what it takes to make it. So they start to bicker about the championship that Shawn Spears has, that he's tainting, that he is dragging through his swamp. I don't even see why Ricky Starks wants it. That thing is turning purple. I can see it. It's turning green. Anyway, Shawn Spears says, well, if it doesn't work out here, you can always go back. And then he pauses and says, wait, nah, I think you've burned that bridge. And then he kind of chuckles to himself as he slithers off screen. And so Ricky Starks says, well, I guess I better win then. And I was like, ha, yeah, I like that. That's good. That instills confidence in me that you, A, will not be sleeping in your car, and B, you're going to beat this bum for this belt. That would rule. That would kick ass. I would be so happy. Shawn Michaels, I will not ask for you to get drug tested if Ricky Starks beat Shawn Spears. However, if Shawn Spears pins Ricky Starks, whatever we calling them, I will personally egg your house. Okay? I will throw scrambled eggs at your house. Omelets. Full omelet. Western omelet. At your motherfucking doorstep. Alright? If Ricky Starks loses this match, I am going to flip a fucking table. It's that simple. I will crash the fuck right on out. Alright? That would make no sense. But let's talk about that dig. They're building up Ricky Starks now as sort of a controversial figure. That his overconfidence is part of his character, and his overconfidence is what makes people not like him. And we're led to believe that it's his overconfidence and his cockiness that was the problem in AEW. How people didn't know how to handle him. They weren't sure what to do with this young, fresh, cocky, guy. And, he rubs people the wrong way because he got so much attitude. That could be a good thing. Because it sort of addresses what occurred, but it doesn't address it directly. What it says is adding something to Ricky's character. Because Ricky's character is very cocky. He's very mouthy. He always talks back. He always got something to say. He's never gonna let you get the last word. He's very forward. He's even in some ways confrontational in how confident he is. And that can rub people the wrong way. It can make him beloved as a babyface, but it can also make him extremely hated as a heel. So it works. The idea that Ricky Starks is in NXT now, and it's sink or swim. There's no plan B. You can't fail out of NXT and then run back. He's got to succeed. He's got to make it work. I love that. Put that pressure on him and have the fans really invested in him, because you don't want to see him crawl on his belly to Court Bauer or have to roll around on his stomach praying to Tommy Dreamer to get a job. For those of you who don't know, Tommy Dreamer is one of the creative guys in TNA, one of the last people left since they fired Gail Kim, which I think is great, by the way. Gail Kim had to go, man. Scott D'Amore sucks. He had to go. It's been a long time coming with them mixing things up in TNA. A long time coming. Anyway, Ricky Starks not having a plan B. He is in a place where now he's got to show and prove. He talked all this shit. Now he's got to show and prove. I like this. I like this as a push. I like it as a character piece for Ricky. He just has to cash in. Nobody cares about Shawn Spears in the culling. Nobody gives a fuck. He needs to drop that belt to Ricky Starks post haste. In fact, I would hope that he would drop the belt right now to Ricky Starks, and then something magical could happen. He opens up a magic door, steps in, ends up in Narnia, and the door just evaporates, and he has to stay there. Moving on, Ethan Page is wrestling Andre Chase, and Ricky Starks is on commentary. I don't know why, except the fact that Ricky Starks has had words with Ethan Page in the past. He's feuding with guys from AEW. It's an AEW feud, bros. Ethan Page defeats Andre Chase, because why wouldn't he? Ethan Page is stuck in the mud right now. At this point, Ricky Starks gets out and he's jaw-jacking with Ethan Page, and Ricky Saints gets blasted in the head with the belt by Shawn Spears. And Shawn Spears kind of poses over him. And they're teasing that perhaps Ethan Page is going to cost Ricky Saints this title. I don't like that. I don't like it. Even though it would make sense in terms of the story, I hate it. It makes me want to puke. It makes me want to just projectile vomit. Just Tracy Morgan all over this motherfucker. I hate it. I hate the idea of it. I hate the very thought of it. The very thought of it makes me sick. Anyway, Wesley was watching the Ricky Saints sit down. He also is a hater of Ricky Starks. And he said that Ricky Starks is not the man around here. He is. And then he escorts his bros, Tyreek and Tyson, into a match with Hank and Tank. Hank and Tank are being mentored by the Motor City Machine Guns. And as usual, my eyes got very droopy when I saw Alex Shelley. I'm like, oh my God. Y'all have no idea how many times I fast forwarded through Alex Shelley matches. Just zip right on through them motherfuckers, man. 15, 20 years of that shit. Zipping right on. Chris Sabin, maybe, depending on the opponent. Alex Shelley almost always zip right through that motherfucker. This was no different, even though he wasn't even out there. But I don't like Hank and Tank either, so I didn't watch this. I know that Tyreek and Tyrone, or whatever the fuck their names is, they won. So then Hank and Tank went back to talk to the Motor City Machine Guns, and they talked about how great they were, and how successful they were, and how Hank and Tank have some level of success, and they're going to be great one day, and that's that. I'm guessing at this point in time that the NXT audience would be more receptive to the Motor City Machine Guns than a main roster WWE audience. So the Motor City Machine Guns wrestling Fraxium is actually a more tantalizing match for the NXT audience than it would be for a mainstream WWE audience. The same could be said for DIY. Now, Fraxium are still the tag team champions, where they lost to the Hardys, but they don't have any other opponents. Hank and Tank suck. TNT is not a main event tag team. Nobody cares about them. Briggs and Inamura, who cares about them too? So it has to be that they call somebody from the main roster to wrestle Fraxium. And Fraxium is still arguing. Axiom wrestled, of course, Gunter in Spain. He lost, but the argument was he didn't invite Nathan Fraser to the match. And they got to bickering about this. Apparently, they're also working WWE shows overseas. I don't know. Like, I thought they were. I thought I saw them wrestle in, like, Europe or Ireland or something. Both of them. Not just Axiom. I think they both were. So, maybe they'll do a run on SmackDown or something. Who knows? Or maybe it's just they're two European wrestlers, so they went over with the European guys or whatever. Maybe that's the case. In any event, Motor City Machine Guns versus Fraxium. I'll struggle to stay awake because Alex Shelley will be in that match. Can we substitute Alex Shelley with somebody else? Can we get Elix Skipper? Is he still around? You know, just substitute that guy for somebody else. He's not from Detroit, but who cares? You know, I don't think anybody else would notice if we replaced Alex Shelley in a tag team. So the last thing on the show worth really getting into, Tony D'Angelo wants intel on the Dark State since they attacked him last week, and Stacks said he'll handle it. So Tony D'Angelo starts to question Stacks about whether he can really trust Stacks or not. And Stacks put his hand on his shoulder and says, "Of course you can trust me." And they're leading this idea that Tony D'Angelo not only doesn't trust Stacks, we're starting to be suspicious of Stacks, because it was Stacks' idea for him to stay backstage when Dark State attacked him. So if Dark State's going to have a leader, Stacks would be a good option. It would get him from under the thumb of Tony D'Angelo, and he's been with Tony D'Angelo for 2 or 3 years now. It is time for Stacks to break out, and I am full in support of that, because as much as I love the Tony D'Angelo family, Stacks at some point has to go his own way. Luca Crucifino is an Evolve. That girl, she doesn't do anything. It's time for that girl to do something. She needs to start buttering her own bread around here. But Stacks has been a part of 3 or 4 murders. It's time for him to go off and control his own family. You know, that's how the mob works. You know, you get brought up, but you're expected to go do your own thing. You're not supposed to sit on my back pocket all the time. So that would be nice. But I'm interested in this interplay they got going here. So NXT, solid show, not their worst outing at all. While WWE was over in Europe, they did tryouts, and a lot of the Progress talent showed up. These are all people who have done tryouts before. I think the Progress Women's World Champion. Some guy who looks like he was shit out of 2008 named Man Like Darius. It's a ridiculous name. I just heard him talk for the first time. He sounds like a jabroni. He looks like a goddamn fool. And he raps. Fuck. Another black dude who raps. A black British rapper. That's the last thing we need. I'm tired of rap gimmicks. And the last thing I need is to hear a motherfucker rapping in a foreign accent. I'm good on that. But I've probably seen them wrestle. I just don't remember. I've seen most of the people that they were talking about. I just don't remember. Nothing about them jumps out at me. So, also, LFG apparently is over. I heard good things about some golem named the big girl Bailey something. She's like a gigantic girl with no neck. She looks monstrous. I know that everybody has been picking on her, so I'm not going to. But she does look like a monster. I mean, that could work for... If they put paint and stuff all over her, do like some kind of wacky hair stuff with her, it could work. I mean, this is pro wrestling. Not everybody needs to be a Barbie, right? She can be a big monstrosity. Just, do like a Bull Nakano thing with her, where you paint her face and spike her hair up or something like that, and she comes out to be an absolute beast. That could work. Also heard that Vander Holyfield's son wrestled. I saw clips. He needs more seasoning. Give him some more seasoning. They all do, clearly. But him especially. They're not gonna let him fail. He's the son of Evander Holyfield. They're not gonna let him fail. He's gonna have to be really, really bad. And probably be uncoachable in order for them to give up on him. That's kind of what made them give up on Gable Steveson, is that not only was he bad in the ring, even though I think he was getting better, he was pretty much uncoachable and was a dickhead. Also, the WWE ID program will be starting their tournament to find their first champions. I'm not going to be following that because I'm not watching all these indies. I will see you at the end of that. When it comes to the end of it, I'll see what's going on. Otherwise, I've watched Evolve. Nothing's happened on the show that stuck to my ribs and made me feel like I need to talk about it. But Kylie Ray is still there, which is a surprise. Normally, she would have quit a wrestling show by now. The fact that she's still there after 3 weeks, it's almost time to throw her a party. She hadn't had a mental breakdown and quit yet, which is great. So, NXT, fun show, enjoyable show. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you guys later.
No one does it better.